Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. You'll have to excuse me, I've got a slight cold at the moment. I don't know whether I'm detoxing or I've been given something by who knows what. Perhaps it's the graphene in the air. Anyway, never mind all that nonsense. I have the lovely Liz Phillips on the line because, as you know, every now and again I get hoiked to different parts of the country to do a talk for the Great Resist. And I can't resist it because it is a way of us taking back responsibility and taking back control. And I think that is the theme, Liz, for the next iteration of the Great Resist.
It most certainly is. And the 20th of April, we're only just under 3 weeks, around about 3 weeks away now. The 20th of April, we're in Swindon, Richard, and you kindly offered to come along as well. I know you do enjoy it because we have a wonderful time with wonderful delegates and wonderful speakers as well. And this time we're calling the conference Taking Back Control. So where you've got the other conferences are all talking, this is showing people how we're actually going to take back control because we've got to do something. We can't go on like this.
And we had such a lovely time in Liverpool, did we not, the other time, in which they shut all the doors and wouldn't let anybody in, the swines.
Absolutely. And this won't happen in Swindon. The people in Swindon have been absolutely wonderful. And no matter what pressure is put on them, they've said, under no circumstances, you're here, you're in, and that's it. So that's absolutely fantastic of them. They've been under pressure when they've had people like Katie Hopkins on stage there, etc. And they've said that pressure has been on them to close it down, and they've said no. And they've said that we're in, and that's it.
And that is part of taking back control, isn't it? It's not listening to all these people who want to not hear the truth and bury their head in the sands and all of this nonsense. And this is something that I think this year is going to be very much that year where we start taking back control. I mean, I know you've got Rachel Matthews, albeit not actually in person, but she's been very much about questioning the councils with her Council Watch. And more of these are happening, which is fantastic. So tell us who else you've got coming along to this wonderful event.
Well, what we're doing first of all, Richard, the doors open at 10 o'clock, and from 10:30 to 11:30, I'm going to do a talk that other people can take out to their localities so that they can learn how that they can talk about all the things that are going wrong out in their areas, either to a club or to hire a local hall or a pub room, etc., and get all the things out into the open and show them what they can do locally to actually start taking back control. And of course, you mentioned Rachel Matthews and Colchester
Mm.
Council Watch. That has now spread to, I think, about 5 or 6 councils now across the country. And they've used the blueprint that Rachel has done. And I think this is absolutely wonderful because where we can make the difference and where we must make the difference is locally. And then that will permeate up. Instead of trying to go in at the top internationally or nationally, we need to do it locally. So not only have we got Rachel, and sadly Rachel can't be with us, but she's done an interview with me. We have got Thetford Council Watch, and we have actually got the wonderful Mark Taylor and Chris Brooks will be there from Thetford. So they will be there in person. So that's a real help as well.
And
But
they've been doing that for some time, haven't they? I mean, I've been up to Thetford and met them and been well taken around Thetford. It's a lovely town. But they're very much into pushing back, which is so good to see.
we've got to, Richard. And I think, we've got local elections coming up. I think the thing to do now is we've got to chuck national party politics out of the town hall, out of the village hall, and what have you, and go back to independent councillors where the councillors work for the people in their wards and
Mm.
to cut through all this Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem Greens. We don't want any of it. This is where all the problems are coming from. In the old days, you had local people working for local people, and that was the way forward. And I think now, if anybody turns up here with a rosette on, they'll be shown the door. We want independent people on the council working for their local communities. If you look at Rachel's latest talk in Sudbury the other night, the town councillors some of whom sit on the district councillors, sit on the district council. They voted one way in the town council, and for the same thing when they got to the district council, they voted the opposite way. Now this has all got to stop, and this
Yes.
is really because they get a whip out from the Labour Party or from the Conservatives, etc. So no more, no more.
And it's great when you see the public calling them out as they're doing that. There's the camera. Voting, the hypocrisy, showing the hypocrisy of what's going on.
Yes, and that's absolutely wonderful. Now, this time, we're all talking at the moment about agriculture, and we've got the two wonderful people, one who is supporting the farmers, and another is an actual farmer. So we've got the wonderful Catherine McBean, who you've had on, Richard,
Oh yes.
about People's Food and Farming Alliance, and then the bowler-hatted farmer. And if anybody wants to have a smile, it's with Mark Byford. So we've got the two of them talking about agriculture from two different sides. They actually work very well together. And they're going to come and talk and show people how we can support farming and get the literally support all the local people that are doing so much work, especially in these inclement weather times where farmers
Absolutely.
are having a hard time. So we've got that side. We've got Dr. Sarah Myhill, who I've known for many, many years, and she's talking about keeping the Hippocratic Oath and coming out of the NHS to do so. So, when we look at the NHS and see what's happening with the jabs and many other things that are going on at the moment, so we've got the wonderful Dr. Sarah Myhill coming. We're
And we've
now,
had Sarah Myhill in the kitchen here at home. We've interviewed her twice here at the studio as well, and she is a real stalwart for the proper way that health should be done. None of this sort of big pharma stuff. And she's amazing.
she is, and she lived just up the road from where I was in Mid Wales. So I go back a long way with Sarah on a somewhat different track, but never mind. So she's coming. We've got Peter McElvenna from Hearts of Oak, who has travelled extensively in America and telling us how we can use the alternative media to get the message out. So we've had Peter before, a wonderful speaker. He's from Northern Ireland, and but what he's done with Hearts of Oak, a channel like our own, Richard, it's been absolutely phenomenal. And then you had on recently Gary Waterman,
Oh
and he
yeah,
was talking about.
he's
Um,
coming, is he?
well, no, I haven't. Let's stop there for just one second. You remember the great Kimberly Isherwood from
Yes,
Public Child Protection Wales? Now, the government in Wales has done everything to close Kimberly Isherwood and her team down, and they've got it right across Wales. So when you think that Gary Waterman was talking about child sexual exploitation, and I think he was saying something like 100,000 children disappearing in this country every year,
I know.
and the Welsh government trying to shut down people who are trying to protect children, you can think that Gary is on exactly the right lines. And so we've got Kimberly coming again. Kimberly is a real tour de force, as you know.
Yes,
Then you look again a little bit further, we look at direct democracy, which now, funny enough, people are starting to talk about. And to say that, we've got to get national and local referendums. And we've got Neil Petrie back to talk. So, again, to explain more about direct democracy. Also, the other thing that's been causing an awful lot of trouble is 5G and
mm,
radiation. And we've got Nicholas Martin, who I'll give him a little plug. You've had him on. They've got a conference next on the 11th in London.
that's
Uh,
right.
Nicholas has spoken with us before. I work very closely with Nicholas because the exploitation of councils using false information on 5G, etc. And we've got Mark Steele talking about the inner cities and the what do they call them? I'm so sorry. Let me have a look. Oh, the C40 cities, um,
Yes,
so that where everybody is going to be locked down. And we've seen recently that Oxford are going ahead this year. with
I
the
know, I know, and I mean, I did a video only the other day about showing they were denying it. No, 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 we're not going to do it. That came out in 2022, and here we are, 2024, and we just go to show that although they've denied it, we now know it's happening.
Yes, absolutely. And the first thing, I'm sorry, I don't live in Oxford because I would be one of the ones and saying, you can just take a hike. You're not locking me down anywhere.
No,
I'm not
exactly.
paying to go anywhere else either. So I
And I
completely,
believe that because of that, house prices are going to drop left, right, and centre because who wants to go and live in a C40 city?
well, absolutely right. And the other person that we've got coming, you may or may not know, is a chap called Richard Vobes.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Um,
Dodgy bloke.
I'm
Dodgy
having him
bloke.
talking about common law because he's done an awful lot of talking about common law with the people and how that the government themselves have actually admitted that things like council tax is incorrect. So I've got the great Richard Vobes coming along to do that, even if he doesn't know that that's what he's talking about. That's his.
Yes, I better make a note and I'll send it to him because he's highly ignorant. That chap. He better bone up on it.
And last but no means least, and he can't be with us in person, we've got Neil McRae. Now, Dr. Neil McRae has been with us before, and anybody that wants to look at some of his work can go on to the Conservative Woman and see some of his written work. He's just written a wonderful book called Green in Tooth and Claw. I've interviewed him, and this is on the climate dogma that's being put out everywhere. And we're
Mm.
having his books on sale, and he's done a video for us so that we can't have him in person. His wife is running the London Marathon, and he'll be in strict trouble if he is not there to support her, which we all totally understand. And
Absolutely.
sadly, the other person who can't be with us, and you've interviewed her, and so have I, is Eileen O'Connor, because she's got some illness in the family, and she was going to come, but her talking on the Radiation Research Trust, Eileen is again an absolute phenomenon. So we've got a wonderful lineup of speakers, Richard, and
Mm.
we're going to show people how what they can do to take back control because that's what it's all about.
And that is the most important thing about these conferences is that it's not just that you're just listening to people and then you go home. I mean, I've been at a couple of them now, and the interaction between people, you meet up with people and you get a chance to talk to the speakers themselves. If you didn't understand a certain point, or you wanted privately a little bit of help or something, you've got access to them, and that's something that very difficult when it's all online. The fact that it's there and you're actually meeting people in the flesh, which is, I take my hat off to you for organising these things
Well,
and bringing them around the country so that different people can get to them relatively cheaply.
well, that's it. And it's the tickets are on sale on the Fatsoma website. They're £9 a head, which is still, I think, fairly reasonable. I think with the pound that Fatsoma charge, it'll be £10 a head. But to listen to all these people, as you say, and then to be able to interact with them, and there is
Yes,
plenty of time to do that. The other thing, Richard, is that we're going to have a book sort of stall, and the great Hugh Williams, who sadly has been very poorly. I'm hoping he can come along because he's one of who's written on COVID and climate and banking, etc. His books will be there as well, plus Neil McRae, plus Neil Petrie's books. So there's a sort of such a variety for people to come along and see.
absolutely. Let me just put your website up there so people can let's have a look. Here we go. The Great Resist Conference, the third of our wonderful conferences. Oh, I said it's ours, it's yours. Taking Back Control, 20th of April 2024 in Swindon, Wilts. And it's going to be fantastic. And if you want to go to the website to find out more, thegreatresist.net. In the past, we've done these, and the videos are available. I understand. I haven't had to look at them myself because I was there listening intently. Where would you find if you wanted to go back and look at the previous
Go onto the
conferences?
website, go onto events, and click on the event, and the videos are done in bite-sized pieces, so it's not like looking at the whole conference. You can
Right.
pick and choose and dip in and out. But go onto the greatresist.net events, and then we've got the Newport one, and then the Peterborough one. Sadly, as we know, Liverpool didn't take place. And we will be going up to Gateshead in the summer.
Wow. Right.
So
There you
we've got
go.
that will be all arranged. But don't stop coming down from the northeast, everybody. We're coming up to you, I know, and it's quite a long way down. But we're looking forward to seeing as many people from across the country. We've been so lucky, Richard, as you know, from Peterborough. They literally came from all over the country,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping we get around about 500. So let's see what we can do.
And I know that many people did actually turn up. They knew it was cancelled in Liverpool, but they turned up anyway to show their support and show the management how stupid they were for cancelling something which actually is all about helping people rather than many of these other events which are more about separating people.
Yeah, it's bringing people together, Richard. And
Yeah.
so many people come on their own, and are quite nervous, some of them, about coming on their own. And suddenly, everybody is talking together. It's such
Yes.
a buzz. Nobody's on their own when they come to one of our conferences, are they?
No.
Everybody is. It doesn't matter color, race, or creed. Everybody is welcome, and everybody just pitches in and really has a good time. And we try to send people out, although the topics are serious, we try to send everybody out on a high. It's
Absolutely. I think that, I mean, that's the remarkable thing, is that you do send people with hope rather than, although it can look bleak, but by taking back control, we have the power.
We do indeed. And come along and join us, everybody. You'll be so welcome. And we've got, people following us now from all over the world, which is absolutely wonderful. From New Zealand to Canada, America, South Africa, Africa, many of the African countries. Europe, we're not quite so strong. I'm not quite sure why, but there we go.
Yes. Well, hey ho. But anyway, so there we are. Thank you, Liz, for coming on the show. I apologise for my croaky voice, but I will be in fine form by the 20th, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to it and meeting all you lovely people who want to come along, and I'll be there to shake hands and say hello. We've got such a wonderful lineup of people. I can't see why anybody would want to stay at home on that day. So there you go. Liz, thanks for coming on the show and telling us all about it. More power to you.
It's an absolute pleasure, Richard. Thank you very much. I don't know what we'd do without you. We had a great time, didn't we? Just before Christmas, you came up to a little village outside Canterbury called Stellingminnis. We had 80 people in our village hall, and we had a great night. And we're looking forward very much to Swindon and seeing so many. It's almost like a family outing now, isn't it?
The nice thing about this is, unlike so many events that people go to where you've got people who with all sorts of things, we're all mostly looking for the same answers, and we're all on the same page. We may not have the information, and that's what something like the Great Resist is providing us with, so that, as I said before, we walk out that door with hope, knowing that we have a chance, and that's the big thing.
We, we'll win.
Will win. There we go. You heard it from Liz, so it must be true. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you there. Go and get your tickets there. The link will be in the description, of course. Until next time, thanks for watching. But from Liz and I, until then, bye-bye.